I saw a question come up about reporting time pay. Somebody was asking whether reporting time pay applies in these circumstances, and I think there's a good argument that it doesn't. And just to clarify for everybody, reporting time pay is when it's required when an employee has to report to work, does report to work, but then is not given work or is furnished less than half of the employee's usual or scheduled days of work. The employee then is entitled to half of the usual or the scheduled day work, but in no event is the employee to be paid less than for 2 hours and no more than 4 hours at the employee's regular rate of pay, which has to be at least minimum wage. There is an exception to the reporting time requirement for acts of God. The wage orders provide that employers do not have to pay reporting time pay when the employee comes into work and they're sent home. If it's due to threats to the employees or property, or when civil authorities recommend that work does not begin or continue, or when public utilities fail to supply electricity, water, or gas, or when the interruption of work is caused by an act of God or other cause not within the employer's control, for example, an earthquake. And I think this would qualify for that as well. So reporting time pay, it's a good question, keep that in mind. I also saw a question come in about expense reimbursement, and it's something to keep in mind for employees who are working from home. The employer's obligation under Labor Code 2802 to pay for all work-related expenses. And what would that mean in this scenario? So if you're sending employees home to work and they're on the internet, I think there's a good argument, and it's recommended employers take a look at reimbursing the employees for the expenses related to the internet and use of the internet for work purposes. And we've also seen this, well, and I think it would apply to cell phone expenses as well. There's been a case about cell phone expenses where the employer tried to argue, look, the employee already had the cell phone expense, it's a flat rate, it's unlimited data, unlimited calls, and the employer said, I shouldn't have to reimburse the employee for this, they already had this in place and it doesn't cost them any extra to use it for work. The court said, no, the employer has to pay a pro rata share of that expense for the cell phone if it's requiring the employee to use the cell phone for work purposes. And I think that argument would carry over to internet at home during these times as well too. So something to keep in mind. And any other office supplies, anything like that that the employee's using at home.